Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Sci-Fi Chronicles. It's good to see you. So tonight I'm talking to you about Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, Season 3, Episode 5. So before we get into it, before I say anything further about it, I will just say I'm on record as not being the biggest Alex Kurtzman Star Trek fan. Far from it. But this episode I really enjoyed. It took me by surprise. So I'm going to take you through what happens in the episode. And I want you to let me know what you think in the chat and in the comments at the end of the video on whether you liked it, whether you hated it, whether you think it's setting up something to come. Just let me know. What we'll do, we'll go into the episode now, we'll discuss it. Let's crack on. So the episode kicks off with Ensign Gamble, okay, an optimistic young officer, and he's buzzing with excitement about his first away mission. He's assigned to the away team following his conversation with Dr. Mbenga, and he's really excited about it. So they beam down to Vardia 9, and when they are on the planet, they get into they're investigating a temple, and when they get into the temple, the first thing that they locate is 2 centuries old corpses that, following their checks, appear to have died of starvation. So while that is happening, Ensign Gamble has essentially found an orb inside a bag next to the bodies, and he picks up the orb, and as he puts it in front of his face, the orb cracks and it sprays into his face and it burns his eyes out and puts blood down his top. And it's quite a graphic scene for a Star Trek episode. But he um, he then gets beamed up to the Enterprise, and little do the crew know something sinister has beamed aboard with him. Ensign Gamble's eye injury leads to a bioengineering attempt to regrow his eyes, but it's clear something is off, and Dr. Mbenga scans his brain and is shocked to find his brain is dead and thinks, well, hang on a minute, how can he be alive if his brain is dead? It turns out that he's been possessed by an alien species called the Vesda. While that is going on the surface of the planet in the temple, the away team end up being trapped in the temple, and look to investigate the mysteries of the temple and to find a way out. They're separated, it turns out, but they're in the same room, just on different planes of existence. And Spock figures this out and explains that the temple operates on an effect before cause principle. So um, they then have to get out of the temple. They then have to effectively do a leap of faith, hoping that the bridge will appear as they do it. So this is classic nod to Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade with his leap of faith at the end of it. Back on the Enterprise, Dr. Mbenga, it takes a dark turn when the Vesda reveals itself to Dr. Mbenga, and Captain Battle, who has Gorn DNA, as we know from a previous episode, walks into sick bay, sees the Vesta, and starts speaking in the Vesda language. And then a fight ensues between the two of them. The Vesda escapes. Now, the question I've got for all of you is, what are your thoughts on this? My thoughts are that I can see later in the season or into next season that there's going to be a potential Gorn Federation alliance against the Vesda. I've got a feeling that they're teaming up for that. So let me know if you agree with me or if you disagree with me. Be good to hear from you. But that's what I think is going to happen in the episode as well. There's a couple of nice Easter eggs I like. So at the beginning, near the beginning of the story of the episode, you've got the star map and you've got the Klingon border and the Klingon territory, and right on the edge of the border, you've got Tribble Prime, which I did chuckle at, and that's a nod back to Deep Space Nine, where Worf talks about, you know, they they took a fleet to the Tribble homeworld and wiped them out because they were such a menace, and Odo mocks him for that, you know? And then, there's also a nice nod where right literally at the beginning of the episode, you've got Ensign Gamble and Dr. Mbenga. They're talking about, Dr. Corby's work on molecular memory and corporeal transference. So effectively talking about immortality, which links back to the classic, Star Trek original series episode, What a Little Girl's Made Of. And for anyone who hasn't seen it, I highly recommend you go and check it out because it is a great episode. Now, I was surprised by this episode because when it started off all whimsy, and Ensign Gamble was all happy right at the beginning, I thought, oh, it's gonna be that kind of episode, which isn't for me. But then it just took a completely different turn and just got darker. Um, and personally, I'd like to see more episodes like that in Star Trek. Whoever is producing it going forward in the next few years, I would like serious Star Trek back. I would like episodes where they've really thought things through. This was entertaining for me. I enjoyed this. It was good to enjoy a nice bit of science fiction again. Now, I would give this a score of probably 8 out of 10 for me personally, but I there's some good bits in it. I think, the question I would have to the writers of it, what I didn't quite understand was when they were in the temple, the away team, they were all deliberating about whether they should stay or whether they should go and report back to the Enterprise because they couldn't get a signal inside the temple. Now, I didn't quite understand that because clearly you could send one or two to report back and the rest could stay. I didn't understand why that was an issue in the episode. But let me know your thoughts on it. And then finally, I was just going to say, Sci-Fi Chronicles. If you're a subscriber, great. If this is the first time you've seen anything from Sci-Fi Chronicles, we do science fiction show reviews. We do movie reviews. We have a wonderful Stargate SG-1 watch along on Sunday night. So feel free to subscribe, like the video if you've enjoyed it, comment along, and then also just let us know in the comments if there's anything you'd like us to review going forward. But that's it for tonight. But I just want to say thanks very much for joining us, and I'll see you again. Take care. Bye.